ain't want to have that boot on. Work. Look. Citizens will say for Cleveland, we need your vote on November the 4th. Check it. Like the politicians say, check my name, check. Check.
All right, guys, we are ready. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they came to support. Yeah. Okay. Hey guys, we're live.
Ready? Good morning. I'd like to first thank everyone for attending. My name is Brandon Brown. I'm the second vice president of the Norman S. Minor Bar Association. Today, I am joined by other organizations and other leaders of our community, including the NAACP, Black Lives Matter Cleveland, and the Black Shield, as well as many other supporters who have come out to support us here today. To Attorney Bridget M. Brennan and Mayor Frank Jackson, Cleveland's black community will not stand idly by while the monitoring team and the City of Cleveland Division of Police blatantly attempt to defang the federal court's consent decree by forcing the resignation of Professor Aisha Bell Hardaway. It is clear that unless a change at the top is made, Cleveland will be the next city where the police department and certain officials attempt to declaw a consent decree by forcing out the most critical members of its monitoring team. The community will not tolerate the erosion of its best protection against police misconduct. Accordingly, we are calling for Mayor Jackson and Acting U.S. Attorney Brennan to petition the Northern District of Ohio Federal Court for the following. The first is the removal of Hassan Aden from his position as monitor, given his lack of minimum qualifications for the position. Second, the requirement of compliance with the job description's qualifications for appointment of the next monitor, and the appointment of a qualified subject matter expert on issues of constitutional and civil rights law to the monitoring team, who understands and will take into consideration the concerns of our community. Monitor Hassan Aden is not the right person for this job, and from all that we can tell, he has never been. In 2015, being selected for the monitor position required that applicants possess qualifications that demonstrate, among other things, familiarity and understanding with local issues and conditions, effective engagement with diverse communities, creation and evaluation of meaningful oversight, and familiarity with federal, Ohio, and local laws, including civil rights laws and policies and rules governing police practices. While Hassan Aden comes with more than 20 years of experience in law enforcement, he lacks many of the other significant qualifications required to serve as lead monitor. Given his lack of experience using legal analysis and his lack of local expertise and failed experience in other cities as monitor, such as Seattle, we cannot help but question his ability and his impartiality to serve as the monitor in Cleveland. The successful implementation of the consent decree is our community's best hope that those who live, work, and visit the city will have a right to police services that abide by the Constitution and meets the needs of all that it serves, including its black community. It is for that reason that it is imperative that the monitoring team carry out its duties and hold the city fully accountable for making the significant changes required under the consent decree. The monitor was not put in place to be a friend of the Cleveland Police Department.
That's right.
That's right.
To the contrary, it is the monitor's job to police the consent agreement and ensure that those in the department comply with its terms. That is why the removal of Professor Aisha Bell Hardaway causes us such grave concern. Her unjustified removal leaves the monitoring team without a local black subject matter expert in a position to oversee the city's compliance with the consent decree. Cleveland is a predominantly black city, with nearly half of all its citizens being of African descent. As the group most aggrieved by the patterns and practices that resulted in the DOJ's findings, it is unconscionable and unacceptable that this community's most knowledgeable representative and its only member on the monitoring's compliance team has been the subject of meritless allegation and unjustifiably removed from her position. The pretext for Professor Bell Hardaway's removal was statements that she made in a radio interview regarding the verdict of the Derek Chauvin case. She stated, quote, "American policing as a system is pathologically brutal in its interactions with black people," end quote. She also stated that no progress could be made until the public got past its view that these events were the result of a few bad actors. She reiterated that the system is the problem. And following these statements, Monitor Aiden presented Professor Bell Hardaway with the ultimatum of stepping into an entirely different position on the team, one without any compliance duties, or leaving altogether. Monitor Hassan Aiden unilaterally decided that Professor Bell Hardaway was too biased to fulfill her role as deputy monitor, notwithstanding the fact that her statements echo the DOJ's own findings in 2014. We are convinced that the facts at hand establish that the only logical solution to this conundrum is the replacement of Monitor Aiden with someone who meets all of the qualifications for the position that he now holds. As we commemorate Juneteenth, it is imperative that we pursue real justice and not symbolic victories. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Kareem Hinton with Black Lives Matter Cleveland. Regarding the forced resignation of Aisha Bell Hardaway, BLM Cleveland and those that we have been contacted by believe that the city of Cleveland and the DOJ are on a similar path of the previously mandated reforms demanded by our government, which is pretty much a path to nowhere. The city has never taken ownership of its numerous violations of the Fourth Amendment rights violations of citizens and has resisted change from the very beginning. It is as if they want continued deaths, infringement upon people's liberties, and lawsuits that Cleveland residents must foot the bill for.
That's right.
The forced resignation of the deputy monitor, Aisha Bell Hardaway, is a blow to the residents and any citizen in Cleveland who wants the Cleveland police to be reformed, that wants the city of Cleveland to be safe for citizens as well as law enforcement. And lastly, we must comment on the deafening silence of those who are in office or running for office that choose the safety of not weighing in rather than taking a stand for citizens or for Aisha Bell Hardaway, who many can confirm her objectivity and expertise.
Right.
I would like to end this by saying that from the very beginning, the mayor of the city of Cleveland made a conscious choice to employ Greg White. Greg White, who oversaw the last federally mandated changes that were supposed to occur, and I say that again, that were supposed to occur in the city of Cleveland regarding policing. That never took place, and therefore we have a new consent decree in place. It was an act of sabotage to bring him back, just as it was an act of sabotage to allow him, Greg White, to hire Blakeman, the one who had recently designed, that was the supervisor for the internal affairs, the community internal affairs. We believe that these are conscious steps on the part of the city, blatant steps on the part of the city to circumvent any accountability and any changes within the Cleveland Division of Police regarding their interactions with the citizens of Cleveland and any citizens that are herein within the city. Appreciate everybody taking their time.
Yeah.
Good morning. My name is Danielle Stark. I'm president of the Cleveland branch of the NAACP.
I want to say what you see here today, this is what community looks like. We have multiple organizations that have come together to acknowledge and to list a list of demands that were clearly laid out for the city of Cleveland, Mayor Frank Jackson and his administration, and also for the Department of Justice. Aisha Bell Hardaway, Professor Hardaway, is the only person that has been a continuous expert relative to the Cleveland Police Consent Decree. We find it unconscionable that the Department of Justice has not already stepped in to take action in this matter. And considering Hassan Aiden's decision to force out one of the most competent, capable black women in our city, there's no way that we would let this happen without our voices being heard. You would never fire a doctor for diagnosing a problem. Aisha Bell Hardaway is diagnosing a problem. We have systemic issues in policing, and it is our job to make sure that we have the reform that's necessary. No one wants to have a decree, but the reality is it's necessary to get the reform that our citizens need. It's just the beginning. We're almost in the 6th year of this decree, and we know that we have not had the reform that's mandated. But persons like Aisha Bell Hardaway were there to ensure that we got the justice and reform that we need. And so again, we have laid out our demands very clearly. We don't have much more to say. Then we will not stand idly by and watch Hassan Aiden attack one of the most competent members of our community relative to this issue. Systemic change is necessary, and it's necessary now. Thank you very much.
We want him out.
At this time, we will be fielding questions if anyone has any.
Any other steps after this, as far as making sure your demands are heard?
As far as next steps, as we've stated, we're not going to stand idly by. So our first step has been to notify both Attorney Brennan and Mayor Jackson. But beyond that, we are willing to continue to galvanize the community, continue to take the steps necessary, whether that means continuing to be here on the front steps of City Hall as necessary, or even down at the Carl B. Stokes Courthouse, then that's what it will be. And we will be moving accordingly going forward.
Have you heard back from Mayor Jackson or Attorney Brennan yet? And if so, what have they said?
We have not heard anything from Mayor Jackson or the City of Cleveland. Attorney Brennan, in their office, upon hearing about Aisha's forced resignation, they did put out a statement saying, and I'm paraphrasing here, that they were uncomfortable with her resignation and the circumstances surrounding it. Beyond that, we have not heard anything. We did release a statement to them last night, but we have not heard anything as of yet. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
I had to mention Greg White. I knew nobody else.
Excuse me. Next time when we back up on something, I'm not trying to be rude, but recognize the families that are here who lost loved ones. That's the only thing we ask you. Even if we don't